Hello guys, this is Justin McGowan and welcome back to JDM Professionals. Now if you watched my last video, you know that I started working at Queens County Farm as a program associate. Now in that video I told you when I started and I told you how I do things in the farm and what we all do. But in the end of the video, I mentioned how I would tell you guys about the fall classes and all that stuff. I've been meaning to do it a month ago, but I wasn't able to do the other things. So let's talk about Queens County Farm in the fall. Now, as I mentioned, I started working at Queens County Farm on October 17th. It's pretty much started the week. It was really far, but I was so excited to work. Apparently the world didn't think so, because on my first day, the school that I was supposed to teach never showed up. That is an interesting start. But of course, ever since we've been doing classes and a lot of stuff. And then now, when we have school field trips, there's different classes depending on the seasons. All that there's programs in the fall, there's programs in the winter, there's programs in the spring, and there's programs in the summer. Now you're probably wondering what we did in the fall. Well, we'll talk about this right now. So, but before we talk about the different programs, let's talk about what our routine usually is. For the educators, they basically just meet our schools and the school buses and all of that, and any updates for work, we talk to our supervisors and everything. We basically just introduce ourselves, and whatever meeting location we're supposed to go to, we take the class there, and then we mentioned the program and so many stuff. And then after we finish the program, we usually do tours around the farm. We saw some farm animals, we talked about the farm, we talked about farm animals, and we also went on a hay ride. And sometimes we have them go to the corn maze, which is really fun. And after that, sometimes they have lunch, other times they don't. But after all of that, we bring the school back to the buses, and that's when it ends. Our day ends for us. That's pretty simple. Now the only difference is the programs itself. So there's several different types of programs that we did at Queens County Farm during the fall. So let's talk about that. There's actually 4 different programs that we did in the fall. The first one is the seed to pumpkin. The idea of this is that we talked to students and staff and parents about the pumpkin. We talked about the pumpkin itself. We talked about what's inside a pumpkin. We mentioned the seeds and when it gets harvested, and many others. And we also showed them a story. We also read them a story and also showed photos of the process of how to grow a pumpkin and all of that. Now for that one in particular, there's another thing to do near the very end. Like after we do the farm tours, the next thing we did is we went to a pumpkin patch. Now there's actually 2 pumpkin patches. The one where everybody goes to and buy pumpkin, but there was another one in particular that was only for field trips, which are smaller pumpkins. Near the very end of that, we take people to the pumpkin patch, the small pumpkin patch, and we had every single student, staff, and parents get a pumpkin of their own to take home. it was really fun and really simple. Now the second one is the Corn Maze Adventure. As I mentioned, that sometimes we bring them to the corn maze. When you usually go to the corn, when you usually do go into the corn maze, they usually just go around collecting mailbox pieces and all that stuff and come out. But for this corn maze adventure, we had more to put in. It's a much bigger challenge and everything. So of course we separate them in different classes, and we gave them flags, and have the staff have a flag for each class, and they go around looking for mail pieces to find them to the end of the maze and everything. Going to the corn maze is really fun. Out of all those programs, I feel like the corn maze was my favorite one because it's always fun, and we always wanted to see and hear how everything goes there. But it's really fun. The third program that we did in the fall is Apple Cider Pressing. Now, I was originally going to do one earlier, but it was changed. But I was lucky to be able to do this once, and this one is an interesting one. So for the Apple Cider Pressing, we talked about the apples, making apple cider, and all of that. We basically have this giant machine that used to crush apples and all of that. So what we did is have a line every child up and go up in the steps and work the machine to crush the apples and put them inside a square bucket that we would use for the cider itself. It was really interesting and was so fun. And at the end of that program, we would give students and staff and parents apple ciders. And before you ask, it's just regular apple cider. It's non-alcoholic. So I was happy to do that at least once, and it's so much fun for people. Now the fourth one we did is the Compost the Zero Waste and Fresh Veggies. Now it's actually different for so many people and everything. For kindergarten to 5th grade, we basically had a hands-on workshop that introduced students to the powerful ecological value of composting, and we also dived into the basic science of compost, from the microbial food web living in our windows to the nutrient balance needed to feed our crops. Now for the 6th to 12th grade, it's different because the students in those grades explore the compost site as an outdoor laboratory through a combination of reading, teamwork, and hands-on experimentation. And for those that are in charge of those classes, they basically demonstrated how we harness natural processes to divert food waste from landfills, reduce pollution, and restore soil health at our farm using only the power of compost. It sounds very interesting. Unfortunately, though, I never done that class once. Yeah, that compost the Zero to Compost was the one class in the fall that I never end up doing. And it's a shame because it was the last one left and I wanted to see how it goes and everything. And I sadly never got the chance. Now keep in mind that I started on October 17th. The fall started like in September, so if I had more time in the fall, who knows? So we basically had the fall programs from September, and it ended in the beginning of November. So I only had like 2 to 3 weeks in the fall. very short, but it was very fun. Of course, those were not the only things that I did in that farm in the fall, because there was one day that I was working on the weekend on a Saturday. So for that Saturday, I was basically keeping an eye out on the pumpkin patch, the bigger one. Before the pumpkin patch was open, what we did was look at the ground and make sure to get rid of the rotten pumpkins and all of that. And during the event itself, we made sure that everybody got a pumpkin and purchased the pumpkin and everything the way it should be. It was really fun. Like, I spent there the whole entire farm day, and it was really, really fun and all that. And of course, the second time that I was there, I wasn't working at all. I was basically there as a customer because I was doing Halloween at the farm with my best friend Emily. I've actually posted a video about that on my main channel, so feel free to check that out. It was really fun and we enjoyed it. So for Halloween on the farm, everybody was wearing costumes. There were tents up where we played and all that. We looked at the pumpkin patch. We took the hayride. We had the corn maze and a lot of those stuff. And for the Halloween on the farm and when I was working on Saturday, there were food trucks. And the good thing about that is that some food trucks I get a discount since I work there, but others I get to eat their food for free. So yes, working at a farm has its benefits. There's another benefit, but I would say later on and all that. And that is Queens County Farm in the fall. It was very short, but it was really fun, and I was so glad that I was able to work and help out. Everyone had so much fun, and it's making the farm happy and everything, and it makes me happy as well. So the fall is done. Now the next thing we did is the winter. I'm currently in the winter classes right now, and that doesn't finish until I finish my service at the end of March. So I'm just going to wait till I finish the winter session to talk about that. But what I can say for now is that the winter, I have less time at work because since it's winter, we did everything inside the building instead of outside, and there was a lot of staff. And we were only able to work there when we're asked to work there instead of just coming in and doing what we need to do and all that. But of course, there's a lot in the winter and everything. So of course, once I finish the winter and all that, I will share that. Whether or not it will be my final video for the Queens County Farm is yet to be determined, but I know I know there's a lot of interesting stuff there. But either way, I hope you enjoyed this video about Queens County Farm. Now we're basically doing school to field trips and all of that, and we're also hiring. And so if you're from a school and want to take your kids to the Queens County Farm for some fun and some classes, or if you want to work in Queens County Farm or just go to events and all of that will be on queensfarm.org. The link is in the description down below and everything. So, with that said, this has been Justin Mogollon. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you, and God bless America.